Hello, people of the internet. My name is Killy, and today I wanted to talk with you guys about the latest Escape from Tarkov wipe that happened on July 9th, 2025. It is considered a hardcore wipe, meaning that there's just different elements that'll make the game a little bit more difficult that they've incorporated. To start the wipe, they had announced that there was going to be no quests available, and a lot of people kind of had a mixed feeling about this. And so since then they have introduced a balancing change and actually have already allowed for in-game tasks to be available from your traders. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that now. So Prapper has shooting cans, Therapist has first in line, Skier has burning rubber, and Mechanic has saving them all. So you do have questing available. I thought that they were going to extend that out a little bit longer, and I honestly would have liked to see that myself because I haven't actually had the chance to play the wipe yet, because I think it would have been interesting to play without tasks. But I can see why the majority of the player base complained about no tasks, because it kind of really does give you that purpose to go to certain maps and gives you that achievement to grind towards completion of those tasks. As far as going into the raids themselves, there is only a limited selection of maps available to start, those being Ground Zero, Factory, and Customs. Now, when the wipe initially occurred, you'd be able to see all of the locations on the map, and they just would show up as a locked icon like you see with Terminal here. However, since they updated the balancing changes today, they have actually removed those additional maps from being able to be selected. Yesterday, when the wipe initially came out, you could actually click on the locked maps and actually go into them, but they've since then obviously updated that. You do have the ability to transit in between maps. Transit still has those bugs where you're going to spawn in with other people, or have the potential to, but you can transit to the different maps. Scabbing is available with the hardcore wipe. It originally had a 1 hour cooldown, but since then has been updated to reduce that cooldown. Ensuring kits is, or was, outrageously expensive initially. They have since then reduced the cost to insure. However, as you can see, it's still pretty expensive, and you can only insure through Fence right now, which I'm assuming will change maybe once you progress through Prapper's task lines a little bit. In my opinion, not having insurance could have been actually a really fun element, because there's a lot more risk to go into the raids, especially if you're taking in higher tier loot. But it's obvious that the community did not like how expensive insurance is, and so they've already made that change. There's not a lot of information that I've been able to find out about this wipe specifically, which you could consider is pretty hardcore itself. As far as your character build goes, there are a little bit of changes with the Gamma pouch, also known as your butt. You cannot put regular healing items in your butt any longer. The only healing items that you can are stims, and then as far as like other items, grenades, ammo, everything is locked from the pouch. However, you can put food items in the pouch as well as dog tags. As far as I've been aware and from what I've heard, hideout upgrades are no longer going to be required to be found in a raid. So that part is kind of nice. If you find an item in raid, you'll be able to hopefully put it in your butt and take it out for your hideout. And then as far as the flea market goes, I've heard that the flea market may not exist during this entire wipe. I do feel like that's going to change, because I think people are going to complain about it, and so I could see Battlestate reverting that and incorporating the flea market into this wipe. From what I've heard is that there's not going to be a flea market. So that's pretty much all that I had to cover for you guys today. I really don't know if I'm personally going to be playing much of this wipe. I'd like to try it out and just see how I enjoy the hardcore elements. I always think early wipe is a lot more fun because the fights are a lot more fun. There's not a lot of people running around with high tier ammo, guns, and armor. So I do find those elements a lot of fun, and so that's why I think the hardcore wipe could be a lot more fun if they limit the availability to some of those things. And so I don't think that I'm gonna grind this out, especially with the full release of Escape from Tarkov on the horizon. I just don't have a lot of time to grind in this, and I've personally been enjoying playing Counter-Strike a lot, so I'll probably stick with that. But I do think that I'll dive in and just try it out to see if it's something that I enjoy. Hope you guys found this video helpful. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Are you going to be playing this wipe? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.